What's up, Internet? Welcome to Once Over. I'm Kaylee, and with me today I have Tab, and we are going to be talking about 1984's Rhinestone.
I could turn anybody into a rhinestone cowboy, and I could do it a lot better than you, that's for sure.
Really?
Did you ever sing in front of a live audience before, ever?
And it does affect me different every time.
No, never.
Thank you and good night.
There will be spoilers.
Give it a good once-over.
Giving us the once-over.
Giving him the once over.
Give me a once-over.
Down to give us the once over.
For a routine once-over.
Once-over.
Oh, just once over lightly.
Rhinestone is a movie where Dolly Parton bets that she can turn anyone into a country star, and unfortunately, that anyone happens to be Sylvester Stallone. Yes, Rocky goes honky-tonk, and it's every bit as gloriously disastrous as that may sound. And Tab, I am so happy that you are here with me today to talk about this crazy, crazy movie, which you actually introduced me to. So I am very curious to hear about your experience with this movie.
Yeah, so it's like fall of 2019. We were at recording. Here's what I'll get at the studio. We were waiting on the files to transfer over for editing, and Todd, our audio engineer, was like, "Oh, Sylvester Stallone was in this Rhinestone Cowboy movie," and I was like, "I think you're confusing this with Urban Cowboy, which is John Travolta." And he's like, "No, this is a Sylvester Stallone movie." And he like pulls it up on the screen, and we saw like in the Google search results the poster, which has Dolly Parton and Sylvester Stallone like arm wrestling, and then there was a picture of Stallone in his final getup at the end of the film, which he's like all spangly, and we're like, "Stop right now," and we're gonna go watch this movie. And so we watched it, and we watched the thing we were gonna watch it and like kind of laugh at it and hate it. And I don't know, somewhere midway through the movie, we're just like, I actually earnestly love and enjoy this movie, and I became a huge fan of it. I've watched it many times in the intervening years, and then I've gotten into collecting memorabilia from the movie. So this jacket is actually a crew jacket that I got last year. It's got the logo for the bar on the back. For my birthday this year, my friend got me one of the t-shirts. So like Stallone wears.
Oh my God, no, it's his taxi t-shirt.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
I was going to wear it, but it's a medium and I am a large.
Well, I mean, his shirts were pretty tight in this movie, so that might have been on brand.
Yeah, it made me feel uncomfortable. I have multiple copies of the movie in like every format you can imagine. So I have sealed VHS and Betamax. And the Betamax has its original price tag from when it was first in stores at $79.98.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And how much, can I ask how much you got it for?
I probably got it for like 10 or 15 bucks on eBay.
That's so crazy. I imagine, okay, so this movie is not particularly infamous. It is a wild ride. I don't know that I love it in the same way that you do, but I sure did love it nonetheless. I mean, it's basically Pygmalion. So like think My Fair Lady or She's All That, but with Rambo and therefore this bodybuilding machismo. And you mentioned the arm wrestling. Of course, we already had Stallone in things like, oh, what's that truck driving? Over the top. Yeah. And at this point, this movie came out just 2 years after Rambo, right?
Yeah, it's like after the second Rambo and after the second or third Rocky.
Yeah.
So he he's at the height of his career.
Yeah, which is crazy. For some reason, Rhinestone has not stuck around in the same way that other things that he has done have, or the same way with Dolly also. 9 to 5 is a total classic. Rhinestone doesn't seem to have that sort of appeal to other people. So I imagine that when you're looking for this memorabilia from the movie, you're not getting outbid that often. Am I correct about that?
No, usually if I find it, I put in an offer, I get it. So my favorite, the best piece of my collection though is an original script.
Oh
that
my God.
On the cover, it says Rhinestone Heckler. So I'm guessing it's one of the guys that's in there shouting stuff in the movie. And it's actually, I read it right after I got it, and it's pretty close to what the final film is. There's a couple of deleted scenes that don't really add much, but I got this last year, and I am very, very proud to have it. And then a second one went up on eBay, and I've offered them. They want like $300 or $400 for it, so I've offered them under that a few times, see if they'll just
Yeah.
cave. It's like, I'm the only person buying this shit.
Nobody else wants. Well, after we talk about it today, maybe we're going to sell some people on it because
Yeah.
I know you love it, and I definitely have a new love of it. Like I said, I had never seen this movie before. I don't think I had ever even heard of this movie before you suggested that we review it, and I am so happy that I have now seen it. It was directed by Bob Clark, who has probably the strangest resume in Hollywood. Are you? I assume you're familiar with Porky's and Christmas Story, but he
and-
also did Black Christmas in the 70s. He did I'll Remember April in the 90s, which I actually really loved. He's a pretty wacky director, though.
Yeah. He was like a studios director where they would bring him in, you know, kind of throw him on projects. So he wasn't original. Mike Nichol was supposed to be the original director of this movie, and he had to pass. I don't remember what movie he got caught up in, but so they put Bob Clark on it, and that's one of the things that Stallone criticizes is that Bob Clark brought a much more campiness in tone to the script than Stallone was really wanting, because Stallone did a bunch of rewrites on this to the point where Phil Alden Robinson, who the writer, almost wanted his name taken off of it. And he's also crazy because, you know, he wrote Field of Dreams, Sneakers. Like, he's written some of the best movies you've ever seen, and then also Rhinestone.
Yeah. It is weird that, you know, one man who brought us Sneakers and another man who brought us Porky's are trying their hand at a musical comedy with Parton and Stallone, because I guess why not try to ruin three genres all at the same time? But on the other hand, again, it sort of works. Now, I will say a lot of people refer to this as being a musical, and I would completely disagree with that.
Yeah.
Because musicals, in my mind, require the plot to be driven by the music. And here that does not happen at all. We get a lot of songs, but they are never changing what is happening to the characters.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that definition of a musical.
Yeah, I don't understand. I kept seeing everywhere, this is a musical, this is a musical. So I was expecting, you know, Hedwig and the Angry Inch or something like that. And then it was not that at all. But it was great. Now, the opening credits do say that the movie is based on the song Rhinestone Cowboy. I don't understand this at all. Do you?
I think it has to be something where they're like, we got this movie, we want to call it this. Let's throw Glenn Campbell a few bucks and we'll say based on, and that way, you know, we don't get sued, because it's I mean, the song Rhinestone Cowboy is kind of about nothing.
Yes, I completely agree.
It does play in the movie. When we first watched it, we had a bet about what if that was going to be like his big final song, but it's just like it's just playing in the restaurant early on in the film.
It's playing in the Rhinestone, and the skeezy nightclub owner is like ogling Dolly Parton's titties.
Everyone,
Rhinestone Cowboy is playing in the background, and that's the only time that we get that song in the movie.
Yeah, it's not on the soundtrack.
Yeah, so
enough.
Weird.
But speaking of Dolly Parton's titties,
yes,
everyone in this film cannot help but stare at them. It's like gravity. Even the actor playing her father at one point checks her out, and it's like you can't not do it. I mean, given the opportunity, we're all gonna look.
Deservedly so, I think. She looks gorgeous in this movie. She looks absolutely gorgeous, and she is outstanding in this movie. I will absolutely say that. I think Stallone was perhaps not ready for this role. I think he wasn't the best actor in a lot of parts of it. He's a little doofy, but that is where the comedy comes in, and that's what makes it so enchanting, is that it is almost like a cult classic in the sense that it's so bad it's good in those little moments where he's being extra doofy.
I think if there had been another actor, like maybe a better one, this movie would have like caught on, because it's 1984, so it came out against like Ghostbusters, and it came out the same day as The Karate Kid. So, you know, it's a big summer, and this one that's just kind of like this goofy little movie about singing country music. You know, if it came out a year earlier or 2 years later, it might have, you know, really hit. And if it was someone other than Stallone in it, because he got nominated for a Razzie for his performance.
Oh, yes. His first of several, I believe.
Yeah.
So that actually brings me to a good question that I have about this, which is that I agree with you. I think that maybe this just wasn't the time. It wasn't exactly done right. I think that this movie is ripe for a remake. And I am wondering if you have any thoughts on who you would want to play the two main characters, the Dolly Parton character Jake and the Stallone character Nick.
That is an excellent question. And
we can revisit that if you want to think about it for a little bit.
What I would really love to see is a late in life sequel like Cobra Kai to the Karate Kid. And like we jump forward, 40 years and see what Jake and Nick are up to and see, find out what happened to Barnett Cale and Freddie Hugo. And, we talked about that. A friend of mine and I talked about that a couple of years ago. And I was like, yeah, they're like back in Nashville and they're running like a music school and their kids want to go to the city and become like big pop stars. And we kind of like talked about that as an idea of like bringing it back. But I think I would be the only person watching it.
So you're kind of describing the plot of Hannah Montana. I just want you to understand that's kind of like, that is sort of what the idea. So Billy Ray Cyrus's daughter, Miley Cyrus, was in Hannah Montana, which is about being somebody else and trying to become a big pop sensation, and the idea of kids doing that. And I actually think the reason that I specifically bring that up is because I actually think that Miley Cyrus, who is the goddaughter of Dolly Parton, would make a really, really great update in the Jake role. I think she would be amazing. And then my thought for Nick, I feel like it has to be somebody really like Dave Bautista or somebody. Like it has to be a big, huge meathead, right?
John Cena.
Yes, John Cena. John Cena would be perfect.
Yeah, he gives every role 100%. He would be.
Or The Rock also would be great.
Yeah. I could see John Cena in that, and he's like that kind of that big doofy kind of same character. Yeah.
So John Cena as a country star, that's our hopes and dreams right now. I love it. I think that would be wonderful. This movie sets us up in the heart of New York City, and I absolutely love movies that feature Manhattan in the 1970s and 1980s. I love that incredible grittiness. We have other classic movies of this time period like Taxi Driver and Times Square and After Hours, and even things like Maniac and The Warriors and Tootsie. And I just love getting to see this part of the city and this sort of grittiness as one of the characters in the movie. So that was one of the things that I first fell in love with. Is that something that you really gravitated towards, or do you think that this could kind of be set anywhere?
No, I think New York, it definitely has to be like, it seems really silly when you think about it. Like they're right next to Times Square, and it's a country Western bar that's like it's the country Western bar. And you don't think country Western bar when you think of New York, but for whatever reason, it really, really works. Just the, in the end, it's a lot more important than in the beginning, but him being a taxi cab driver, and it's that old Ford style taxi cab. It's not the modern, kind of matching. Everything's a little dingy, and that whole sequence of him picking up the Asian tourists and like just it's really entertaining. It like sets up how common he is.
I tell you, sushi's a growing thing. I see these sushi bars cropping up here, cropping up there, everywhere.
When Dolly and Freddie are wandering out into the city to like talk to weird scuzzy guys to see it, who's going to be her project for the rest of the movie. That's a great sequence of like the homeless people, the dudes like drumming on manhole covers in between cars. It's like, you couldn't start this movie out in like Dallas or Chicago or somewhere. It has to be that New York feel.
Come on. Camptown lady, sing.
Yeah, it almost needed to be the foil. So in the same way that Nick Stallone's character is the foil to Dolly's character, Jake, we needed to have New York City contrasting with the backwoods country of Tennessee, where these two characters end up. Dolly Parton is a singer in this country nightclub called the Rhinestone that is run by this very skeezy club owner, Freddie, who is played by Ron Liebman, who I know best as being Rachel's dad on Friends, and I feel like I'm really outing myself. Yeah, I feel like I'm outing myself on what kind of crappy TV I like now that I've mentioned both Hannah Montana and Friends. But he is very slimy, and again, he's always staring at Dolly's
great.
tatas. He's
He
great.
plays
He's so
that
good in this.
role so well.
So good. Oh my
Yeah.
God. And everybody in this club absolutely loves Dolly Parton. They think that she's absolutely amazing. However, they are very critical of other people who come and sing. So at one point, Freddie has this rough and gruff tumble kind of guy who comes up to perform the song Too Much Water, and the whole crowd is laughing at him.
The Day My Baby Died.
You're totally right. The Day My Baby Died.
Yeah.
And the whole crowd is laughing at him, and he like bends the mic stand, which is like just a goofy, silly thing to have happen. Again, it's kind of setting up the environment that we're in, and also setting up the fact that Dolly is not particularly happy in this environment. However, she's under contract with Freddie. And so what they decide is that they are going to make this wager where if she can turn any clown into a rhinestone cowboy within a 2-week period, then Freddie will release her from her contract. But if she cannot, then she has to bang Freddie.
Yeah.
Which is a really weird bet, right?
Yeah. Well, also, she gives him another 5 years on the contract, but he's mostly in it for the night of sex.
Yes. I don't get why Freddie would want to bang somebody so badly who clearly is repulsed by him.
That's what it's in the script.
It's in the script. That's what it says.
That's how sleazy he is. He's just the lowest of the low. When we get introduced to him, he's walking into the club and he's like, "Oh, take a picture of my new jacket with my monogram." And the lady taking photographs takes the photograph, and then he's like, "Give copies to everyone." And it's a blink and you miss it, but these two ladies turn around and face back to the camera again, and they're both like rolling their eyes and giving each other this look of disgust at what a sleazeball Freddie is.
Mr. Hugo.
Wait. Got your new monogram my tailor did. Go! Copies for everybody.
What a fool. Yeah, honey's best days.
And it's just like the little detail like that. It's like, this guy is the worst of the worst.
Yeah. And meanwhile, like you mentioned, we get to see Stallone as this crazy New York City taxi driver. And that scene where he is driving around the Asian tourists is absolutely great. That is our introduction to him.
Yeah.
And he's like telling them that they should get Italian food because he's this big Italian guy.
Besides, you're in America now. You gotta eat Italian. Ravioli, you got it. Rock and roll. Watch it.
And it's amazing because everybody in this cab gets in their little racist jab. There's no holds bar in this cab. And Nick somehow convinces them to assimilate to the US in order to have more fun. And therefore they end up deciding that they want to go to the country bar, the Rhinestone.
Yeah.
I can't imagine ever having this scenario. Like, this is a wacky plot.
Yeah, can you imagine getting in an Uber and being like, "Yeah, we're gonna head over to dinner at this place," and he's like, "Nah, that place is shit."
Yeah.
Like, why don't you just drive there, buddy?
This is what I have asked you to do, please.
But also in that scene, Stallone invents Screamo. He invents Screamo in this movie, and he because while he's driving, he's like, sometimes you gotta let it out, and then he just wails into space.
Yeah, it's good to let it out once in a while. It builds up inside me like stress. I just go like, yeah, sugar. You know what I mean?
And you're like, if I was riding in a cab and that happened, I'd be like, yeah, you can go ahead and pull off right here. Like, you're obviously mentally ill.
I kind of feel like that's what New York City cab drivers were like back then, though. I used to hang out in New York City in the early 90s, so a little bit later than this, but that was how cab drivers were. They were all absolutely out of their mind insane, driving like how he was and behaving like how he was.
Yeah. Well,
I'm
glad we have Ubers now, so you're in someone's private vehicle that's obviously crazy.
It's true. It feels so much safer. So within this bet, Freddie gets to select the guy, and you already hit the exact mark, which is that he is starting to pick out homeless guys. He makes that one guy, you mentioned he makes the one guy drum on the street, and then the other guy, he's singing Camptown Races.
Camptown lady, sing this song to the...
But luckily, Nick's taxi cab arrives just in time to get demolished in a crash.
I mean, the next guy that passes in front of my face, anybody.
Did you see that? Hey, where you going?
Leaving him in the right spot at the right time to be selected as the guy who will become a country star at Dolly Parton's behest.
Yeah. So they bring him to the club. They tell him about the bet. He's like, "Nah, I'm not interested." Freddie's like, "Okay, I win now. You got to go." And Dolly tells him, "No, I have 2 weeks to figure this out," and ends up tracking him down at the cab company.
Yeah.
And she convinces him to go ahead and take the bet, and they'll have Freddie pay for the repairs to the cab so that he can, be a big cab driver. And that is a huge motive. That's like his major motivation for 80% of the film. So he's going to go back and become a cab driver again.
He loves taxi cabs. Now, you showed off your yellow shirt a little while ago. This is the first time that we really get to see Nick's style. He is dressed like a taxi cab in this scene. He's wearing the yellow shirt. He's got this little domino pin as if it's like the checkerboard of the taxi cab. He literally has matched himself. This is his whole life. It's all that he cares about. However, he gets fired from this job because the taxi cab was demolished in whatever accident he got in when he was dropping off the Asian tourists. So this is how Dolly is able to convince him to participate in this bet. She says, "You know what? Freddie is going to pay for all of the expenses related to this, so we will get your cab repaired and you'll be able to get your job back if you can help me with this." Of course, that's not actually good enough for Nick. He ends up saying, "You know what? I don't even want the cab replaced. I want my own taxi." And everybody agrees to that. Now, we get to see this conversation where these three characters are kind of hashing out the deal within the Trump Tower.
Yeah.
And we get to see here how Freddie lives. He has the ultimate luxuries. His apartment is insane. He has like a neon light up fireplace.
That is, I would kill for that fireplace. It's so cool.
So funny. It's so cool. It's so cool. And he has one of the rotating circle beds, which I thought was the ultimate luxury when I was a kid. I was like, that's how you know you made it, is when you have a rotating circle bed.
There's a segment of Stallone wandering around the apartment, like commenting on the furniture.
Yeah.
And I have to look at the script. I don't know if they just like let Stallone loose into this set, like comment on some of the stuff in here, Stallone, and he came up with that, or if it was, if it's actually in there,
if it's scripted or not. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would be curious about that. You're gonna have to look that up and tell me at some point.
Yeah.
We also find out that Freddie's lifestyle in Trump Tower is very, very different than Nick's lifestyle. So Nick, we find out, lives in a funeral home, which is owned by his dad.
There's one moment that I want to point out here is that after they finish up with Freddie, they're down in the lobby of Trump Tower, and Stallone is telling Dolly that he has a big organ. And
yes,
there is the single greatest director cameo in all of film history, because there's a man that walks up to the counter overhearing this conversation, and he like turns and looks at them and has this face, and then Stallone and him make eye contact and he gives him a thumb up.
Go to your house, huh? I suppose that's so you can show me your organ, right?
Hey, why do you think I'm conning you? I'm telling you, I really do have this big organ. Thank you.
Thumbs up. And we've always referred to him as Big Organ Guy. But that is Bob Clark, the director of the film.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Go. I'm going to take you to my place and I'll show you my big organ. And Bob Clark gives this just amazing smile and wink to Stallone in it. Yeah.
I love that. I had no idea. Also, I kind of hated that big organ talk. I was like, yeah, we get it. All right. This is a little hacky. Like, it took me a while to get sold on this movie. I'll tell you the point when I finally started laughing out loud and really enjoying myself. But at this point, I'm like, all right, we get it. You have a big organ. It's a music movie. Ha ha. It's a real organ. Whatever. Leave it alone. So I was a little, but now that I know that Bob Clark is in that scene, it makes it much better. I can't wait to rewatch that. So like I was saying, Nick lives above this funeral home that is owned by his dad. He has to climb up a fire escape in order to get to his apartment. And when him and Dolly go over to his apartment, he ends up singing Tutti Frutti.
One more little bit, do it for that. Hallelujah. Do it for that. Hallelujah. Gotta go. Show those guys the kitchen. Gotta go. Show those guys the kitchen.
During a funeral, which is the first time that we really get to hear his musical chops.
Yeah, it is haunting.
I did not know how to feel after listening to him sing, scream, tutti frutti during a funeral.
Yeah. And it's a really great comedic reveal too, because they're dressed up in the organ room and he's like slapping the thing and jumping all around like he's having some kind of psychotic episode. And then he finishes and the father walks in and he's like, look down there. And the camera pans over and there's a full funeral and body in the casket going on.
Yeah,
oh,
they're horrified.
Yeah, as you would be.
Yeah, not the best funeral music. Although I gotta say, you look back on that 10 years later and you're laughing about it. It might not be great in the moment, but that family has some stories to tell. Again, as we kind of mentioned, Nick is very, very stereotypically Italian, so he could not be anything further from being country. Again, it's Stallone. It is all of the Stallone stereotypes. We also get to see, like we kind of said, everybody's kind of compartmentalized in this movie. So we get to see the very rich Freddie. We get to see Nick living this very traditionally Italian life with his family, eating big meals. And then we get to find out later that Dolly is from the hometown country in Tennessee, where everyone says howdy all the time. And it's cool to see all of these very different environments as these characters kind of navigate them together. And Dolly ends up bringing Stallone to the country, and he is a total fish out of water.
Mm-hmm. Again, wearing an inexplicable outfit.
Inexplicable.
He's
got a bow tie, he's got saddle shoes, he's got sunglasses, and he's got that domino pin again.
His wardrobe is like absolutely psychotic. I think the only outfit that he wears that makes any sense is his finale outfit, because so they show up in that, and then he's got a t-shirt at one point that has like a skeleton that is skin tight.
Yeah, and then yellow. Oh my god.
He has another t-shirt at one point that is like, it looks like he's wearing a collared shirt with cameras hanging around his neck that is also skin tight.
That one's my favorite, and that one's very pink, which is very much the opposite that you would expect him to wear. I actually kind of like that one because to me that was acknowledging he's a tourist. He's a tourist in this town. And so I kind of like that choice. I mean, maybe liked might be a strong term for that. And we'll get into his other outfit, the craziest of his outfits, when we get into the singing of Drinkenstein. I want to hold off on talking about that one. But his choice of clothing in this movie, whoever did wardrobe was wacky. And I want to be their friend.
Yeah.
I would like them to dress me.
Here's the tightest shirt you could ever possibly wear. It has some inexplicable print on it. Enjoy. Yeah. So they get back to Tennessee and they take him to the farmhouse, and he goes into another screamo fit. Oh, that's where we hear Too Much Water, which is actually my favorite like song. It's just a nice little sweet little song. It's kind of a transition music. And then he sings with him, and he sings
Devil with a Blue Dress.
Yes. Again, jumping around and screaming and stuff.
My notes say he sings, and then I crossed that out, and then I wrote he screams Devil with a Blue Dress. It's insane. I mean, he is, but again, it works for this movie. The whole point is that he doesn't know how to be country. He is a little bit rock and roll, you might say. He's so out of his element. So later he even tries to sing a country song, and he sings Old MacDonald. It's amazing because he doesn't lack any confidence or shame. He is enjoying the heck out of what he's doing, but he's doing it so horribly.
Yeah. It's like when they were directing, they knew that they wouldn't be able to get Stallone to be good at singing. So they directed in the beginning to be so horrifically bad that when at the end, when he's just kind of like mediocre, you're like, wow, he's really come a long way in 2 weeks.
He's doing so good. I'm so proud of him. Good job, little buddy.
Yeah.
I do really like actually during this sequence, this is actually when he's singing Old MacDonald. That's the first time that I really laughed out loud because he's trying to sound country. So he's like, my doggo. Like he's my dog. Dog.
And on this farm he had a dog.
Dog?
Dog.
Oh, dog.
Yeah.
And like it's I just watching Stallone do that, it got me. And that was when I started having fun with this movie. It was like seeing him make such a fool out of himself, but then also seeing him put forth like a little bit of effort. He was like trying.
We got boom, what a boom, boom here, boom, boom there, here, boom, there, boom, everywhere, boom, boom. Get down, down!
Whoa, son, you're gonna hurt yourself.
He wanted to do it. And he does. He gets more into it. And in the beginning of getting into the country, the animals are running from him. And then eventually he's like riding a baby cow and he's splitting a log, or at least trying to. He fails pretty miserably at that. But he's like getting more into it, even though he's still dressing like a crazy person.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a really weird, it's an odd montage of kind of stuff that's not related to being a country music singer in any form that you can really see. And I guess the point that Dolly's trying to like teach him the lifestyle so that he feels more like a cowboy, because they get into a fight at dinner about, you know, the way he's eating and using butter, and he calls her a drag and she calls him a bum. In that scene, I'm watching it and I'm just like, what are they going to see him eating peas and mashed potatoes before his song and know that this is all a fake? Like, what is going on here? But you know, it's one of those things that they have to have that falling out so that they can then, you know, come back together.
I actually kind of found that to be believable, of him having to do things like split logs. Like, why does he have to do this? What does it have to do with singing country? I do think, I am not a country music fan, but I do think that country is a genre of music that it is a lifestyle in addition to being a sound. So I think that kind of what she's trying to teach him there, and why she's making him do all of these seemingly goofy things, and why she's such a drag about how he has to eat like this and talk like this and walk like this, is because she wants to make sure that he's feeling it in his gut. And I do think that country is one of those genres that you have to feel it in your gut in order to be able to make it seem realistic. So she couldn't win the bet unless he was country through and through. He needed to say dog instead of dog, you know.
Yeah.
He needed to.
Dog.
It wasn't a choice. I didn't even ask you, are you a country fan?
I like some stuff now and then. I like Dolly Parton a lot.
Yeah.
And I have the soundtrack for this movie that I listen to semi-regularly.
Yeah.
But I like kind of the older country western stuff more so than like the modern stadium country, you know, that's basically just rockabilly.
Yeah.
Not into that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I get
Good-
that. I
good steel
can
guitar.
understand that. Yeah.
Yeah.
After Nick and Jake get frustrated with each other, Nick fucks off and walks down this like old country road. It's like super foggy and dark and crazy. And he gets spooked by this very Deliverance style driver, which results in him then going off to a bar so that he can kind of escape the spookiness of this country road. And there he meets a character named Barnett.
Okay.
Barnett turns out to be Dolly's ex-partner. Now, I was a little bit confused about ex-fiance. Okay. At one point, they were talking about Barnett being Dolly's like ex-singing partner, and then it seemed like it was romantic, and I just couldn't get a good finger on the pulse of what their relationship was. So they were engaged.
Yeah, she does say at one point way late in the movie that they were engaged, and Stallone he has a line about I don't know if I can like think about you the same way anymore. And then like 30 seconds later, he goes, you know what? We've all made mistakes. I think I can like learn to live with this one. And it's kind of a silly little line, but yeah, I guess they sang together and were engaged. And then he became a drunk, and
Yes.
she went off to the city, presumably.
Yeah. And Nick and Barnett do go off and drink together in this bar, and it is very homoerotic. I had no idea what was going to happen. I knew there was going to be romance in this movie, and we hadn't gotten to the romance yet.
Yeah.
So I was like, where is this going right now when the two of them are sitting and drinking together? But they end up kind of just being friends, I guess, at least at this point.
they kind of hit it off. There's a weird moment where the Barnett gets served this beer, and it's like a beer mug, and there's about, I don't know, an inch of beer in the bottom, and the rest of it is all foam. And Barnett says,
I like my beer real foamy, you know what I mean?
and that is a line that has confounded me for years. Just like, what the hell does that mean? And sometimes when I get a beer if I'm like out at a restaurant and I get a beer that has way too much head, I will say that, and nobody knows what I'm talking about. I like my beer extra foamy.
Why wouldn't he say, again, in this very homoerotic scene, why not say I like extra head? Like, it's a very and again, with all of the cheesy sexual innuendos that we have, like the organ, why wouldn't we do that? It's very bizarre. Maybe the censors took that out. I don't know.
Who knows?
The next morning, so Nick and Barnett kind of hit it off. They're buds now, but the next morning, Nick is hungover. He's like laying face down in duck shit, and all of a sudden, he is inspired to start talking country and behaving country because he had this great time with Barnett. And Dolly asks him, "Well, why the heck didn't you do it when I suggested that you do it? You only did it after Barnett said that you should do it." I thought for sure that the clear answer was going to be, well, because you're a woman.
No, it's because she's like baby Hitler.
But it didn't sound like fun when I tried to do it, right?
You sound like baby Hitler.
Well, I was like, what? You sounded like baby Hitler? What the heck? I think, again, that's supposed to be that she's a drag.
Yeah.
That's a weird line.
It is a really, really weird line. And so then she asks him, who's the guy that inspired all this? And she realizes Barnett Cale. And she like storms into the house, and you just hear like the sound effects of stuff getting all torn up, and she's screaming. And at one of the lines in there that you could barely hear is, "I'm gonna kill myself." And
oh my God, I was laughing so much at that. Yes, it was great. It was great.
I think for me, this was about the time where I was like fully in on, okay, I'm rooting for these characters. I'm enjoying what's happening. I'm like laughing with this movie and not at this movie at this point. The first time I watched it.
Yeah, I could see that. This was actually the time where I asked myself, so again, this is this bet that is going to take a 2-week period in order to complete. Dolly has 2 weeks in order to transform Nick into this amazing country star. Why is she just allowed to leave Freddie's nightclub for 2 weeks? Why can't she just fuck off from work for 2 weeks in order to win this bet? Like, wouldn't you think she would still have to be working during this time?
That's another part of the movie that is weird. Is it's like you couldn't teach him, to sing a country music song in New York. You got to go all the way back to your hometown of Leapers Fork, Tennessee, and like do all this small town stuff. I kind of feel like it's good on her, and that I'm sure like her weekly pay is part of one of the expenses of the bet. And she tricked Freddie into giving her a free 2-week vacation home.
Yeah. That's actually not a bad point. And she gets to hang out when they're at home, when they are in Tennessee. They are staying with her dad. They're staying at her, I assume, childhood house. It's very adorable to kind of get to see that relationship build a little bit. Again, you mentioned that the dad checks out her boobies at least once, but who can help it? It's Dolly Parton, for fuck's sake. Like, we can't help it.
I love their dynamic too. I like after the fight with Stallone, she asks her father, "Am I a drag?" And he's like, "Oh, pass me the biscuits." And she's like, "Daddy, answer the question." He goes, "Oh, pass me the biscuits first."
Daddy, you don't think I'm a drag, do you?
Well,
Tell the truth.
okay, but first pass the biscuits.
Never mind.
Yeah. And you can see her like, oh God, dang it, I am a drag. It's a very cute moment. They have a very good relationship.
Yeah. Richard Farnsworth is the father, and he's also, I mean, like literally the worst part of this movie is hands down Stallone.
Yeah. Which he's also the funniest part though. So
like, yeah, and not that he's bad. It's just that
he's bad.
There would be a better fit if it was someone else, I think.
He's very bad. All right. Back then, my other question for you then is going to be, back then, who would you have put in this role other than him?
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, that would.
Can you imagine how funny this would be with Arnold Schwarzenegger in that role?
Yes, I can.
The broken English. Yeah,
I would love to hear him saying "dog." That would be absolutely wonderful in Schwarzenegger's voice. I would very much like to see that.
I feel like, I don't know, someone, one of those light comedians of the time, Harold Ramis, Dan Aykroyd, that kind of like group of guys. Norm Macdonald. I think Norm Macdonald might, well, no, he probably that right age to be in that.
I think he's a little bit too country for this movie. I think
really?
Norm Macdonald would have been a little bit too close. Like, I think you really need an entire foil. It's the same way that we're getting the contrast of New York City versus the absolute small town country. We need these two characters to be total opposites of each other in order for this movie to work.
Mm.
So I don't know. It's definitely, I could see Dan Aykroyd doing pretty good. Or I don't think, well, maybe. Sort of, no, not right age. Chris Farley would have been funny.
Chris Farley was my first thought, but then I feel like you changed the dynamic of the movie so much. Yeah.
Next up, we get what may be the best song of the movie.
Yeah.
Which is Stallone performing Drinkenstein.
Budweiser, you created a monster, and they call me Drinkenstein. And they call me Drinkenstein, yeah.
In what we've already alluded to as being probably the most insane outfit of the entire movie.
Yeah.
My notes for this just say Jesus Christ. So I'm going to try to paint the picture from memory. So he's wearing like a Dudley Do-Right hat that has not one, but two raccoon tails hanging off of it.
Yeah. The reveal of this too is great because it starts in his boots and you work your way up this multicolor vomit rhinestone bedazzled thing up to his face, which is he has the most just like I wish I was dead face for the this ridiculous outfit that he's wearing. He really sells it. Yeah, it's the hat.
He's got the hat's insane.
Two sizes too big. It's yeah.
I feel like he's wearing like a red button-down shirt with a yellow tie, which makes him look super Ronald McDonald-y. And then there's like a floral denim vest that you're right is like rhinestoned and like sparkly. There's glitter everywhere in this outfit. And we do later find out that they made him wear this outfit, like Dolly like laid out this outfit. They were making fun of him. But I also really loved the performance of Drinkenstein. It is really successful, and this is something that I think Stallone does. I think he shines here because you can see both his discomfort in having to wear this outfit and his character's discomfort in having to wear this outfit and having to perform, but also it's a gritty enough song that it works for his rough and tumble Italian, I'm not doing country sort of vibe. And it makes you feel a lot closer to him, even though it's such a goofy, silly song.
Yeah, it's the first time where he's like actually singing and it's okay.
Yeah.
Not.
I haven't stopped singing that song since I watched this movie. I have been singing that song. I've been like grabbing glasses and like swigging them around like this because I'm a crazy person. But it was very catchy and it was very enjoyable. And this is kind of, again, when the two start building their relationship up a little bit better. So Dolly, again, is teaching him how to do things. She is trying to explain to him that he should walk as if he has jock itch.
Hey, Nick, did you ever have a real wicked case of jock itch?
Oh, that's really feminine.
Yeah.
Which it becomes kind of a running gag in the movie.
Yeah, because then Barnett comes up and asks that, and he has a great line, which is, "What is that, a pastime for you guys down here?" And then they explain like, that helps you walk like a cowboy. And there's a really weird homoerotic thing in there where they're Barnett's showing Stallone how to walk like a cowboy, and then he's like, "There, see, how's that?" And Stallone says in such a like soft, sweet voice, like, "Oh, it's much better now." And
yeah,
it's like, what is happening?
Also, I mean, I've never had jock itch, so I didn't think that jock itch was that common that all guys would be like, "Oh, I know exactly how to walk with jock itch now."
Yeah, I have no idea. I've never had it either.
That seems like not that common of a thing. Maybe it was more common in the 80s. I guess
if you
I
didn't
guess
wash
every
yourself.
movie in the 80s does mention jock itch, now that I think about it. Like all the teen movies, there's some random small mention of jock itch.
Yeah.
Maybe that has fallen
Maybe
by the
it was an
wayside.
epidemic back then.
Yeah.
Yeah. One thing about this outfit that I do want to mention is that if anybody ever played the game Rock Band 3 back in the early 2000s, so we discovered this movie in 2019, and then I started to find references to it and little bits of it and all over the place. So like my favorite YouTube channel, Red Letter Media, they have a copy of Rhinestone sitting on the shelf behind them. They've had it sitting there for years. And
but then you noticed it.
But then I finally noticed it, and then I was like going back, and I was like, "It's in that episode," and I go, "That's in that episode." And in the movie, there was an Air, the movie about the Air Jordans.
Yeah,
in the opening montage of that movie, about 30 seconds in, there's a clip from Rhinestone. And so I've said, like, it wants to be found. It's been referenced in and stuff, and it just like hasn't gotten that cult classicness. And so one of the things is in Rock Band 3, they recreated this outfit as one of the unlockable outfits you get. Yeah, and it's called like the Rhinestone cowboy outfit. If you go look at it, I think it's on their Wikipedia page. It's the same kind of tacky, horrific thing. And so because I was trying to find a picture of Stallone in the outfit to show someone one day, and then I was like, oh, this Rock Band 3 outfit, Rhinestone, and I pull it up, I'm like, holy shit. And I like went to my friend Tim, and I was like, it was right under our noses, like, was we played Rock Band 3 in high school a bunch, and it's like it was trying to get to us, you know.
It's infiltrating our brains and we didn't even know it. That's amazing. Yeah, I really can't figure out why this hasn't hit cult status in the way that so many other movies have of this era, because it is just silly enough that it is ripe for the taking. Like, you could make fun of this movie and have a great time making fun of it, but you could also sit down and truly enjoy it. And that seems perfect to me. Maybe it's in like a weird middle area where it's not a movie that you can call it so bad that it's good, because it isn't so bad, but it's also not so good that you can't put it in like the instant cult classic sort of thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe I can't figure it out. I really, truly can't. After seeing this, I want everybody to see it.
Yeah, I've been spreading the gospel for years. I've I've become friends with someone, and within a few months, I'm like, "Hey, we're gonna, okay, come hang out, watch a movie." And I'm like, check out this movie, Rhinestone. This is pretty great, right? And then I like pull all the stuff out, and I've got the poster, a movie poster, in my bedroom, and I've been meaning to like make this wall of all the memorabilia in my hallway, and I just keep not getting around to it.
I love that. That's so great. I think it's so great to have like a passion about a movie like this. So I'm so excited that you're sharing it with me and with everybody else who's listening to this right now. It's everybody go watch this movie. It's really, really wonderful. You're going to enjoy it. You will get joy out of it, regardless of if you like country music or Stallone or Dolly Parton, or like, you will find joy in this movie. You will laugh. You will have a fun time for sure.
You'll either laugh at it or you'll laugh with it.
Yeah.
Either way, you'll enjoy it. And it's short. It's like 90 minutes. You're in and out.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is the point in the movie where Nick and Jake's relationship starts changing, as well as Nick's relationship with Barnett. This is kind of like when we get to see everybody kind of shifting. There has been a big rift in the atmosphere. And so Jake and Nick start to fall for each other, and Nick also realizes that Barnett is kind of a wiener, and this all kind of comes to a head at the country bar. So Nick and Jake are dancing, and Barnett asks to cut in, and Nick is like, no, you absolutely may not do that.
Hey, excuse me, good buddy. Mind if I cut in?
Actually, I do good, buddy.
Say what?
Yeah, I feel right comfortable here, buddy, but happy trails.
Which results in a brawl. Just as Nick and Jake are about to kiss for the first time, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Very sad. They actually get interrupted when they are going to kiss a couple of times. They're about to kiss also later. I think it's like the next scene they get interrupted as they're about to kiss by her dad.
We could always use it.
It's quiet. Practice makes perfect, right?
Are you all gonna make that racket all night? Good night, children.
Oh, Daddy.
So you're kind of like, are these two crazy kids ever gonna get
Will they,
together?
won't
But
they? Yeah.
Yes, obviously they're going to. Like, we needed to have a romance story in this movie somehow. So that, of course, is going to be our romance. Is going to be Nick and Jake ending up together in the end. But back at the country bar, we get to have another wonderful song sung by Dolly Parton, and then Nick going up in order to perform a song. So this is going to be his first time really performing in front of a large crowd.
Yeah, and he's got stage fright, and she gives him a pep talk. Not a very good one, but enough of a pep talk to get him up there. And so Barnett's in the bar with his couple of buddies, and they start heckling him. And Stallone
they're like
gives
slinging
him
insults. It's so good.
It says this insult where he's like,
You can always tell when Barnett's been over my house. The toilet ain't never flushed and the cat's pregnant.
and then some extra goes,
That's old Barnett, all right.
and I was like, old cat fucker Barnett, what are you talking about?
I know. I literally have cat pregnant ? In my notes for this scene. I was like, I don't understand at all what's happening. Like, are we like, is this like a Shane Dawson thing? I don't understand what's happening in the universe at all right now. But that warms the crowd to Nick. Like, everybody's like, oh yeah, now Nick is great. We like that he like threw it back at Barnett and called him a cat fucker, I guess is what happened. And so that kind of gives Nick the confidence in order to sing. He sings the song with Dolly, and I think they sing, is it Wake Up in Love during this scene?
Last night we went to bed a stranger. This morning we woke up in love.
Woke up in love, yeah.
Woke up in love. The crowd loves it. They're completely enjoying it. But I have to assume also that they're enjoying it because they all love her, not necessarily because Nick is doing a great job. Do you get that vibe from this scene as well?
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And even listening to the soundtrack, you can, anytime there's a song with the two of them singing, and I think some of it was recorded like with crowds, it'll be like, he'll start singing and they're like, yeah, great. And then she starts singing and there's like a big rush
big
of
swell.
cheers. It's like, that's who everyone's here to see. No one cares if Stallone's singing a song.
Yeah. After they finish that song, another brawl with Barnett starts. And so before Nick can actually punch Barnett, Dolly Parton does.
Violence ain't the way. And besides, I want to do it. Take that, Slimestone cowboy.
What are you, Jane Wayne?
Yeah.
She's kind of a badass woman for the 80s. Like, a lot of the time, the female characters in the 80s don't have any sort of
agency,
autonomy or agency at all. But she ends up punching him in the face, which really bothers Nick. He makes a couple of comments about, like, you have to stop punching people. I get to punch people. I'm the man.
He calls her, he asks, what are you, Jane Wayne?
Yeah, what are you, Jane Wayne? I was like, oh, that's so silly. I did think, so he gets a little bit upset that Dolly is being the aggressor, or not being the aggressor, but she is the one who took the manly action here. And so his response to that is that he needs to get one over on Barnett also. And so he like pulls down Barnett's hat like it's a silly cartoon character.
Yeah.
Why?
Does he do that first or?
I think he does it after. I think he does it after she punches him.
What makes you blooded my nose?
Oh, you get out of here.
When they're having that conversation, I think he pulls down the hat first and then Dolly punches him, because while they're having the conversation, Barnett comes again and Stallone throws a blind right straight out and knocks him flat out. But what I love about that punch is that Sylvester Stallone makes the sound effect himself. And that is in the trailer. That is in the trailer for the movie, is Stallone throwing a punch and making a punch sound effect. And my friend Tim has always been like, well, he did that in the Rocky movies. Like, why would he have done that in the Rocky movies? Who is making their own punch sound effects? And if I'm the editor, how did no one in the filming this catch that and go like, oh, we need to mute that audio for just like a second so we don't hear him make a punch sound?
No, I like that he is cutting down in the post-production time. I am now pro Stallone. I was a little iffy on him before, but now I can tell that he's a real actor. He cares about saving time and being efficient. I love it. Absolutely amazing. That's so funny. That's so funny. So Nick and Dolly do perform another song after this brawl. They sing, I think it's Sweet Lovin' Friends.
Yeah.
Which is that I actually really enjoyed. That was another one that I really enjoyed.
Yeah.
As songs in this movie go for somebody who's not a huge fan of country music. And they also finally kiss. We finally get to see these two crazy kids getting together.
And it's heavily implied that they bang.
Yeah. I know.
Also doesn't he have the conversation with the dad first where the dad tries to give him that awful outfit and they like go back and forth, and then Stallone says this thing is absolutely hideous, and Richard Farnsworth says, I'm gonna go have it cleaned and burned.
Yeah, I've been trying to get rid of it. He's like, I've been trying to pawn this off on people forever, and I just cannot get rid of it.
Well, trust me when I tell you that this is the ugliest garment I've ever seen.
Well, it sure as hell is. And I've been trying to dump this eyesore for years. I believe I'll have her cleaned and burned.
Good idea.
Oh God, that outfit. Oh my God. Oh.
Yeah, it belongs in a museum.
It really does belong in a museum. What's crazy, though, is that both the dad and Dolly Parton's character, Jake, have seemingly great taste. So I just don't understand where that outfit came from to begin with. Like, why does that exist?
They made some. My guess is it's like something that they made to make fun of Barnett. And then been holding on to it. Yeah. From way back in the singing days.
That makes so much sense. I would never have gotten that.
Because Barnett wears kind of ostentatious, when we first see him, he's in this like blue, pearl snap shirt with these like silver bedazzled things over there. And when he comes over to see, when they're doing the jock itch walk, he's wearing like a really pompous blue blazer with his, jeans and cowboy boots. And he's got this bolo tie that has like some kind of stone around it. So he's a lot more of it feels like kind of akin to the stuff that he's wearing throughout the movie.
Again, a little homoerotic, if you ask me, but maybe that's just what country is. I don't know enough about country to be able to make that sort of an assessment. That's a really interesting point, though. I, again, would not have figured that out. Finally, Nick is ready. He is ready to perform. He's ready to win the bet. And so Jake and Nick head back to New York City, and they start out by having Nick sing for all of his Italian family and friends in order to kind of like pep him up. Is that?
They have this big family party to celebrate him coming back from a 2-week vacation.
Yeah, I know.
And it is my favorite scene in this movie.
Tell me why. Why is it your favorite scene?
So the when we first watched this, like we had to stop the movie for a little bit because we were laughing so hard. But they're having this big party, and they sing. They're doing that like da 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 da.
Yeah.
That classic Italian song that everyone's heard. And then Nick makes a speech and Jake makes a speech, and while Jake is making her speech, standing behind her is Papa Martinelli, who looks like Joe Biden, and his tie is tied. It's not tied in a knot. It's just kind of the two ends are folded over one another. But there's a moment where she's talking and he visibly leans in and sniffs her hair.
You're singeing my hair, Romeo.
And then he comes away and he kind of has this like when you've just taken it, you've had a shit day and you take a long drag on your cigarette and you're just like, that Ben Affleck,
I was going to say he's the Ben Affleck meme. Oh
and
my God.
Like, he's like, and we were laughing so hard, and it spawned a joke that we still, my friends and I go back and forth, but we're like, her hair is smelling like a big titty. I don't know how she do it. She's making the hair smell like a big titty. And so we like impersonate this dad because he's very, very Italian. And we're always talking about anything that's a big titty, that big titty.
Oh my God.
His whole treatment of Dolly is from the beginning, you know, he's like, who's Annie Oakley here? She's got a great body. Like, if you need help with her, you come talk to me. And then that moment where he sniffs her, we were just, and also this is 2019, so we're like going into the presidential election season of Joe Biden eventually allegedly winning the 2020 election. And so, you know, it's like old man Joe Biden is on TV all the time, and then this guy that looks like Joe Biden is smelling this woman's head,
Dolly Parton's
and you're like,
hair.
what is going on? It was one of those like perfect storms of like, it had to be found in that time, because otherwise that moment would not have been as funny, and it would not have stuck in our, like, my friend group's cultural lexicon, to the point where then like we've, you know, we're constantly talking, well, not constantly, but we talk about it very frequently.
That's so great. I have to go back and rewatch that now. I do really like that scene, and this is one of the more emotional scenes, I guess you could kind of say, in the movie. Yeah. Basically, Nick comes to the realization that he doesn't want to be a taxi driver anymore. He wants to be a singer now. And Dolly Parton's reaction to that is kind of like, well, you suck, so you probably shouldn't do that. It's a very emotional, again, the back and forth between the two of them is, he's like, I did all this work for one night. And she says, no, for one song. And I was like, oof, like that's like a dagger right in the heart. Like, this man just said, I really want to do this. I want to try to make it work. And she just shot down all of his expectations. And he ends up blaming that on professional jealousy.
Professional jealousy.
Jealousy.
The old professional jealousy.
Which I don't think he's delusional, so I don't know why he thinks that he's better than her in this moment, but that's what she really is being kind of bitchy, I guess.
Yeah.
She's being pretty bitchy.
Also where she lets slip that the other, because this whole time it's just been that the 5 years under contract, that the other part of it is that she's going to have to sleep with Freddie, because at one point her dad asked her, like, oh, I don't understand. What does he get out of it? Like, oh, I just don't get my contract. That's it. Move along.
Nothing else. Yeah. She lets, the way she lets it slip, she says, well, I might as well just forget about this bet and go bang Freddie. Like, ooh, baby girl. Not a great way to do that in front of all those people right there.
Yeah, that's going to be real awkward at the next family gathering.
Yes, it sure is. We cut to Freddie about to bed Jake in his high-class apartment. This is when we get to see that absolutely wonderful fireplace.
Everything's controlled from like a TV
one remote
control. Yeah, locks the doors, makes the bed spin, turns on his little neon fireplace.
I mean, that's kind of what cell phones do now. This might have been just very forward thinking. I can turn on my lights downstairs from my cell phone right now. I can turn on my air conditioner. If I had a rotating bed, I am sure that I could make it rotate from my phone. I really still want a rotating bed. It's so stupid. What a dumb thing to get. Why did everybody love those in the 80s?
Weird sheets too.
Yeah. How do you even get them?
I don't know. It's probably at the sleazy 80s superstore.
Hell yeah. Vibrating beds this way, circle sheets over here, heart sheets over here. Absolutely beautiful. Yeah. The 80s, the circle beds and then the water beds.
Yeah.
I have one friend who still had a water bed up until he passed away just earlier this year. And he loved that water bed, but he probably bought it in 1984 because you can't buy a water bed or a circle bed anymore because they're useless.
Yeah.
God damn it. All right, I got off on a sidetrack. Well, this is, again, so Freddie is at the apartment with Jake and they're about to bang. Nick ends up going to the nightclub because he's hell-bent on performing, but he decides to leave the nightclub in his absolutely impeccable rhinestone suit, complete with fringe, in order to go rescue Jake. And he tries to catch a cab, but ironically, as a taxi driver, he cannot get one. So he ends up finding a horse.
He steals the bar's horse. There's like a man in a spangly costume that I guess rides around outside to
drumming up attention.
Yeah.
He's the equivalent of a sign spinner, I guess.
Yeah. And he steals that horse, and which they never really like I mean, we see him ride on the back of a baby cow, but they never explain that he knows how to ride a horse. But he ends up riding this horse. It's also in a.
Before we talk about him riding the horse, we have to talk about him mounting the horse, because I would argue that he has no idea how to get on top of an animal. Him trying to mount that horse is one of the funniest scenes that I have ever seen in movie history. Stallone trying to get on top of a horse and failing and being so awkwardly big. I mean, this horse must have been like 18 hands high. Like, it was a big horse.
It was a big
in
horse,
in order to not make him look gigantic. And he's like trying to get up on it. He's like falling over. He's like sideways on it for a while.
Oh, hey, pal, test drive. Going up. All right, come on. No, once again, relax, ready? Hold it. Wait, the leg. Wait for the leg. Hold the leg. Straight. Come on, you get a headache here. Make me look bad. No, horse. No. Oh, the leg. No, come on. No, you give me dizzy. Come on, please. No, hold. Okay, now. Okay.
Absolutely hilarious. As soon as he gets on it, though, he knows exactly how to ride the horse. You're exactly right. How did we get from not knowing how to mount it to being an expert rider through Times Square?
Yeah, I do love those shots of them, like they're running like movie theaters, and we see like the Coca-Cola and Kodak at Times Square, and like I don't think you could put that horse and that outfit in modern day Times Square with all the LED, billboard moving stuff, and it would not look as nearly as beautiful as it does with all the neon and the sodium flare lights and all those old incandescent halogen headlights of cars. It's
it's a beautiful scene. And again, that's one of the reasons that I get so almost addicted to movies that have this like Manhattan 1970s, 1980s vibe. There's this grittiness. You see, there are when he's riding by movie theaters, you see smutty movies listed on the movie theaters. That was what Times Square was back then, was you either could see a kung fu movie or a smutty movie. And then it kind of started shifting in the 80s. So we get a couple of things that are like more modern and mainstream. It's so cool. That was such a joy to see him going through Times Square on this horse in this, again, rhinestone fringe outfit that is absurd.
Yeah.
In a million years, like if you showed me a still of him doing this before I knew about this movie just a couple of weeks ago, I would have said that's AI. I would have been like, there's no way that's real Stallone. There's no way, not a chance in hell.
That's what the image we saw was him. He was like in a T pose, and I think we saw him from the back, but it was like and just this fringed, long fringe, all bedazzled, and his whole like shoulder area is bedazzled. It's like black with silver rhinestones, and we saw that picture, and it was like, I don't know how he gets in this situation, but we need to find out. And I don't want to know anything else about the movie. We're watching this movie now.
Yeah, I went in totally blind to this, so I managed to go into this not even knowing that Dolly Parton and Sylvester Stallone were in this movie.
Nice,
which is amazing. I mean, I knew immediately, like as soon as the movie started. But I went in totally blind to this. I had no idea what I was getting into, and I was so happy that I did it that way because, again, it's such an iconic image to see this like bodybuilding Rambo on a horse riding through Manhattan in rhinestone cowboy garb. Like, that's insane.
Yeah.
It's absolutely insane.
He rides into Trump Tower, and another one of my favorite little bits with the extras in this film is he rides in on a horse, hops off, gets in the elevator, and the security guy's like, "You can't ride a horse in here. Where are you going?" And he goes, "I'm going to Freddie Hugo's." And the security guy's just like, "Oh yeah." And then another guy comes running up. He's like, "What the hell? That guy rode in here on a horse." He's going to Freddie Hugo's. Like, that Freddie Hugo. He's always bringing horses in the building.
Oh, I thought that was fuck that guy. I thought that it was because they hated him, so they were like, "Oh, he's about to go beat Freddie up." Like I thought that they were like, "Oh, good. He like give him like let that man do whatever he wants because we hate Freddie." Now, I did really love, so as he goes up to Freddie's apartment. I had not realized this. Again, you mentioned it's Freddie Ugo. He on his door, he has FU written on the door. And I was like, that's actually very clever. And I did not get it until this moment right now. I went through the whole movie not understanding what his initials were saying about him as a person. Fuck you, Freddie, I think is what we're getting at here. And Freddie is literally about to rape Dolly Parton here. But again, she punches him before he can.
Yeah, we hear like the sounds of them going at it, and Stallone is trying to kick in the front door. Again, still wearing his bedazzled suit.
Freddie falls out like pretty much at the same time that he opens the door. Dolly is punching him in the face. Now, I don't understand if she was going to punch him in the face. Why did she go over in the first place? Like if she wasn't going to let this happen, then I don't really understand why she was there. But whatever, she was. I don't know. And again, Nick is a little bit perturbed by the fact that Dolly has taken on the masculine role of doing the punching. I think he says to her something along the lines of like, if we're going to get along, then you've got to give up all the active combat.
I think he tells her to, you have to avoid active combat.
Avoid active combat. Yeah. Nick also gives a little speech here about how he's never actually finished something.
Look, I never finished anything in my life before. I swear to God, this is the first time, and I'm going through with this bet tonight no matter what. But for you to give up your pride, to give up your dignity, to sleep with that mutt!
Okay, that does it. You're a big hero, and I'm really impressed, pal.
And so he wants to finish this. He wants to complete the bet. Fuck Freddie at this point. Fuck you, Freddie. We don't care about you at all. But what we do care about is that Nick wants to finish this to completion. He is excited about this. And so the two of them leave Freddie's and go back to the Rhinestone to perform. As they're leaving, oh my God, I thought this was so weird, and I wonder if you have any input on it. As they're leaving Freddie's place, Nick does this like weird bird pecking thing.
Yeah, as he's Freddie, like getting in the elevator.
He's leaving, he's like, I was like, what is he? Are you being like a peacock and you're like putting your thing out to like, or what's your aggression move here? Are you're like the dinosaur that does this? I don't remember the dinosaur that does this.
Dilophosaurus.
Yes, yeah. Like, what are you trying to spook him? But you're doing it with bird pecking head motions? It was very bizarre.
It was a weird movement, but it's like you only see it like as the elevator doors are closing. Yeah.
So, like I said, the two of them end up back at the Rhinestone, and on stage, Nick tries to do what he did in the country bar back in Tennessee, where he's like making jokes at the audience. But it doesn't work at all here. The Rhinestone crowd is much more particular. They are, for some reason, pickier than the real country folk in Tennessee. And it's kind of a weird moment because you're sort of seeing Stallone fail both at stand-up and singing all in one moment by doing this.
Baby, you can take the
Yeah.
So like you feel for him, you know?
Yeah. But then he starts singing the song, and it's like a
horrible
dirge. It's so
he's getting
slowed
booed.
down.
It's horrible. It's awful.
Yeah. And then he's wearing a guitar for some reason. At no point in time in this movie has he learned to play an instrument. So he
knew how to play the organ. It's a small skip and a jump.
So he puts a guitar down, and then he like starts revving up the crowd. He's like, what is that? Let's all the fine women out there say
no. All the horny women.
Well, then he moves on to the horny women, and then the whole crowd, and then he's kind of winning them over, and then
all the studs say yeah, all the horny women say yeah. I was like, oh my God, he's doing it his way. He's like, I'm gonna do this a little bit more rock and roll. I'm gonna do it the way that I know how to make people excited. In the same way, he's gonna combine everything that Dolly has taught him with the way that he sang Tutti Frutti above the funeral home. He wants it to be a fun, romping good time, just with a crowd that isn't at a funeral right then and there. And he concludes this like revving up the crowd. I'm sure you remember what he says when he is done revving up the crowd.
He has them repeating after him, and he's the South is gonna, and I'm like, oh no. Oh no!
The South is gone.
We were watching it. I mean, we were literally saying at the TV, and then it goes,
Hurrah! Tonight!
Rock Tonight. Like, oh, and then they jam back into Stay Out of My Bedroom.
Stay Out of My Bedroom.
It's now faster paced, and it is kicking ass. And the crowd is like on his side, and he starts singing, and that's kind of like more. They sing that he gets through like a verse, and then Dolly joins him. She is wearing a mirror ball.
How's everybody feeling tonight? Good. I'm glad to hear it. It's really good to be back.
Yes, she truly is.
Yeah.
Her waist looks tinier than ever in this movie.
Yeah.
I mean, she's always very curvaceous, but I'm pretty sure that I could put like 1.5 hands around her waist in this movie. She's like this big.
Her corsets are on tight in this.
Yeah, they're doing triple duty. I don't know what they're doing, but they are. I cannot imagine that was comfortable. And she sounds amazing, and they perform wonderfully together. It is a very cute little way to end this movie. You know that this movie is going to end with a happy ending. You know that it's going to end with the two of them together. You know that it's going to end with them singing. Again, I kind of would have liked it if they had been singing Rhinestone Cowboy, but they have like a little bit of banter between each other, and then they end up singing another song. I think Be There is the last song in the movie.
Yeah, that's over the credits. He gets the.
It's very cute.
Yeah, he gets the contract from Freddie, having won the bet.
Yes.
Freddie asks, "Is she any good?" And Stallone says, "What is it? Incredible." I think is what he says, and you just see Freddie like completely deflate. It's pretty good. The bad guys get their severance,
comeuppance,
and they sing into the night away, and it's a cute little ending. They as they go into the credits.
Yeah, I don't think there was really any other way that this movie could have ended. That is what we needed to have happen. Anything else would have seemed unbelievable. I mean, it's a traditional ending to a traditional kind of musical comedy that is based on Pygmalion. We have to see the good guys win and the bad guys lose, and we have to see the romance, and we have to be excited for these people. And I truly did feel that way. So I would call it a success in the end based on that.
Yeah.
All right, so I am so happy that you showed this movie to me. And I already know that you absolutely love it.
Yes.
But I do love to rate movies on my channel out of 7 thumbs up. So I am curious what you would rate this out of 7 thumbs up.
It's probably 6.
Why would it lose a thumb?
Just because. So while I love the movie, I think that there is some weakness in the script, and that we don't really have a good character arc for Nick. Like it kind of happens, but he never really goes through the full antithesis of like being a country guy and then realizing that he needs to mesh together. He doesn't work as a country guy. He needs to mesh together. That all happens kind of fast. There's I think we could have gotten some more stuff in the middle with him, like actually training and not just, it happens very fast. There's like a montage, and then they're singing in the bar, and now we're in New York, and now we're singing the big number this night, and it's great. Also, I don't think Stallone's acting is very good.
Yeah.
So I mean, that pulls it down from something that is like, it's not a perfect movie. It's not a bad movie, but it's not a perfect movie. It's not it's not going to get that, like, it's not Back to the Future or Terminator 2. It's one step below that for me.
I think that that's completely reasonable. Well, before I give my rating out of 7 thumbs up, I would love it if you would tell people where they can find you.
Yeah, you can visit me on Instagram. My handle's T-Bert Design. I do glass art and post other stuff that I'm working on. And then I kind of have a podcast. I don't know if it's going to be still continuing. We're in kind of flux, but it's called Here's What I Don't Get, HWIDG.com. There's 300 something episodes available in a backlog, though. So if you're interested in listening to any of that, and if you go back to 2019, September of 2019-ish, you can hear my friend Tim and I show up to record the episode after we watched that movie and just being like, this is incredible. We actually recorded a movie review of it. That was why we watched it, and the format was called Before and After. So we would sit down before we watched the movie and talk about predictions of what was going to happen, what we knew, what we were thinking.
Awesome.
And so we talked all about it. And I actually listened to it recently, and we were way off. And
I
then
love that.
After the
movie, I'm going to
movie,
link that down below, and I am going to go listen to that as soon as we are done recording here, because that's amazing.
I'll send you a link to it. And so then after the movie, we then talk about, breaking down what happened in the film. And I think that one we cheated and we didn't record it immediately after finishing the movie. But when we did that format, it was usually right after we finished watching it, we would go talk about it. And it was your very fresh takes on what had happened. But I've continued to talk about this movie for years. I this is a very small collection of the memorabilia. I have it on every format of video that you can get. Even learned about new forms of video that I didn't know existed. And I'm always on the lookout for more memorabilia for it because I want to I'm gonna be the biggest Dolly Parton fan.
You are the number one Rhinestone fan. I think that we can all agree about that. And I gotta say, you have made me into quite the fan of this movie also. I don't necessarily think that my thumb rating is going to match my opinion of this movie because I loved it. I will rewatch this. I will be suggesting that other people watch it. I had a super fun time watching it, and it's so wacky and so wild and so out there that it is something everybody needs to see at least once. That being said, I do think that I have to rate it only 4 out of 7 thumbs up because the acting, maybe 5. I want to rate everything really high. What I want to do is rate every single movie 7 out of 7 thumbs up. I think that if I'm being rational, this has to be around a 4 or a 5. I'm going to go with 4. I'm going to stick at 4. And the only reason for that is because it's not perfect. Like you said, the script definitely has some flaws. It is pretty nonsensical at certain parts. And I think that those nonsenses could have been made sense of, if that makes any sense. Mm-hmm. I think that it could have been kind of explained away. I think that we could have gotten a little bit more about that. I think that you're right on about the idea that Nick's character doesn't have a lot of development. We get to see these kind of speeches at the end that just kind of feel a little bit tacked on to the ending of the movie, as opposed to getting to see him transform throughout the film. I don't really care if he's walking like he has jock itch. I want to see him emotionally transform. Or I want to understand that his character is so gruff that he's never going to emotionally transform. I want him to be one or the other, and he was kind of a weird middle ground for me. And again, the acting, not great. That being said, Dolly Parton's acting, outstanding, as always. She is a pleasure to watch. She truly is. And the songs, Stallone should not sing. He should not sing. Again, I had a lot of fun watching him sing Drinkenstein. I will probably listen to the recording of that again. I will never listen to any of the songs that he ever sang on ever again unless I am watching this movie. I cannot believe that you listened to the soundtrack. It was painful for me to listen to at times.
It's in the CDs in the CD slot in my car.
You're a crazy person. You're a crazy
every
person.
so often I'll just pop it on there and be like, we'll listen to the Rhinestone soundtrack today instead of Spotify.
I am happy for you is what I want to say to that.
I was surprised that they didn't dub him. I thought for sure the first time I watched it that he was going to be dubbed and it was going to be obvious, but
I actually looked it up. I actually looked it up as soon as the movie was over. I was like, was that really him? Because it sounded like his voice, but I was like, maybe they purposely got somebody that sounds like him. No, he really truly sings on all of those songs. He is doing duets with Dolly Parton, the queen of country. And that is impressive in and of itself. So good job, Rambo. I don't know what to say about this.
Way to go, Rocky. Yeah.
Good. Yeah.
I did watch this movie once entirely in Spanish to see if they would dub the songs in Spanish. They did not.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Maybe one day, if this becomes more popular, maybe you can make that happen.
I'm fighting to get it on Blu-ray because right now the only version of it you can find is, I think there's some 1080 versions online, but it's an all out of print DVD that you have to buy, or VHS or Betamax. So I would really love to see this movie on Blu-ray, like a nice HD restoration.
I think it's a good candidate for that.
Yeah, when it was in like 2023 and 2024, anytime Dolly Parton posted on Instagram, I would comment that we wanted Rhinestone out on Blu-ray, and I just like kept posting that until the 40th anniversary came and went, and then I was like, well, I don't think we're gonna get it on Blu-ray.
You know, I think Tootsie came out on Criterion not too long ago, if I remember correctly. And Tootsie really does have a lot of the similar vibes to this movie, where you have like the New York City, you have the person being something that they're not. It is kind of, it feels a little bit similar. So maybe it is something that's up and coming. I could see Criterion or one of the other, maybe Criterion more than anybody else. I could see somebody finally releasing this, and I think it would be really exciting if it happened. There's definitely, there's something to this movie, regardless of if that's good or bad.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much again for joining me and for introducing me to this movie, and for hopefully introducing some other people to it, because I think that everybody should be running out to watch this now. And definitely go check out Tab. Again, I will have his Instagram, the website, and also a link to that podcast that you were talking about down below. So go check everything out. Make sure that you are liking and following. And thank you guys so much for listening. Bye.